Good morning, everybody. Afternoon. Basically, the 30-Hour Famine is a fundraising organization created by World Vision to help support children around the world. So basically, what these children are experiencing is a lack of food, malnutrition, and so whenever they get food, it's bad for them, dirty water and sickness. So basically, what we're doing is we're trying to raise funds because a mere $30 can feed one child for a whole month. So that means $360 could have a child set and healthy for a whole year. So basically, this would prevent stuff like stunted growth because sometimes whenever they don't get the right thing, they end up being shorter than everyone else their age. No education, because they have to just struggle to survive. Their daily lives are filled with trying to get food, trying to get water. And it's actually a perpetual struggle because since they don't get any education, when they start their own families, they would have no work to survive on. They would have to try and survive on basic necessities. So one of the stories we actually learned about yesterday was of this woman named Sabina, I forgot what country she's from, but basically ever since she was a small child, she would have to take a 4-mile walk to get water, and it would have to be 4-mile round trip. So basically, she would be carrying this big tub about the size of that tom drum to 2 miles to a dirty lake. She'd have to dig a hole herself, take a water by small pitcher to make sure that it wasn't the muddiest thing, but it was still pretty brown. And then she would have to lug about 70 pounds of water on her back to where she came from. And the problem was there were fences in certain places. There were thorns everywhere. It was a dusty road. It wasn't really nice. And their shoes would have been worn out. So basically all her life she would have to do this. While me, I could just take a few steps over here. And I have water. It's clean, it's cold, and it's not 70 pounds. It's in my hand. I didn't have to lug it on my back. I didn't have to climb over any fences or get pricked by any needles. But so basically, that's what we're trying to prevent, and World Vision can prevent it because after raising funds, they were actually able to bring cleaner and more efficient water sources to Sabina and hundreds of other people in her community. So now they don't have to take that 4-mile walk anymore, though probably it's like a mile or two. But at least now they get clean water and lots of it. So this fundraising actually does make a difference. And to the actual event that we had starting Friday afternoon, we would have several youth from NewLife and New Hope Church start fasting at 12:30 on Friday afternoon. So we still got lunch, but we would start fasting. We weren't allowed any food. We were only allowed drinks. And so we were doing this to sort of learn the experiences of what the children normally had to go to. So we came here on that night, and we got to do games, we had activities, and we got to do community service. So for our community service, what we did is we went over to the elementary school right across the street, and we were getting ready the land because the teachers there wanted to grow a garden for the kids. Now, the problem was the area they wanted was full of ivy. Never grow ivy. It's the worst thing to dig out once you don't want it. We had to spend like hours digging it out, and we didn't have any food. All we had was water and Gatorade. So by the end of it, everybody was exhausted, and we had to lug all of the ivy. It was like from the back of the church to the front, or to about here, full of ivy, which we dug out. And thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Morrison, for helping, even though you didn't have to. They were very helpful with that. So, of course, we did that for a couple hours on Saturday. And then whenever we were back here at the church, we got to do games that taught us about the experiences people had. But one of the tricky things about the games was some of us had disabilities, which sort of represented how the children there had to live. So, like, I had a broken arm. I couldn't use my left arm whenever we were playing any games. Hazel had a blind eye, so she had to wear sunglasses inside and had one eye covered with duct tape. But some were healthy, so they were lucky. And we played games from a weird variation of soccer where we had to crab walk backwards. I had one hand, so it hurt. We got to build boxes, put water balloons in it, and kick it as hard as we could. And then we even got to, learn from their experience, because these games were sort of reflective of their daily lives, of how they had to struggle to survive. But this seems kind of fun, actually. You're working, your thing. But the problem was we didn't have any food, and every time I closed my eyes, there was just a perfect cheeseburger, fries, and soda. Every time I closed my eyes, I'm not exaggerating. For 30 hours, every time I closed my eyes, I saw that. So basically, when we were breaking fast at 6:30 yesterday, we at first had we broke it through communion, sort of to just bring it full circle, at how we fasted, and we got closer to God while we were fasting, so now we could fully express it. And actually, one of the things that I accidentally did was, as Mr. Stevens was talking, we took the bread together, I drank the juice, I turned around, nobody else drank the juice, oh no, and then Steven started looking at me funny, because apparently he was still talking, but yeah. And then after that, we had pizza and salad, and I actually took 3 slices and salad, and my mom knows I don't like vegetables, so that was a big surprise at how much closer it brought me to a healthy diet. Yeah, so basically that was the actual event, but the fundraising hasn't ended yet. I think it ends 2 weeks from yesterday. I'm not sure the exact date. So, as you can see, it actually does help people. It actually does have an effect. So if you're willing to make a donation, however small, it'll be helpful. And thank you for those who've already had donations.